Hi everybody, Tom Gile with the Gile Group. Today is Friday, November 27th. I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're able to spend a little bit of time here over the last couple days here relaxing with friends and family and those close to you. Today we're going to take a look, we're going to do a regional roundup. So we're going to take a look at the different submarkets that make up the Portland metro area. Overall, the Portland metro market is way outperforming 2019, but each market is behaving in its own unique ways. So some very interesting numbers, so let's go take a look. So taking a look at the Portland metro area as a whole, you can see here that pricing has really been strong, especially since about June on. Taking a look at October numbers, for example, the average home price in Portland is $516,000. That's up 11.9% from where it was at of October of 2019. Volume is also up both in terms of overall market for the year and the month of October. What we're seeing is really the market due to COVID has really shifted. It was slow, as we've talked about over previous months, and we're starting to see some seasonality as we get into the fall here, but the whole market has really shifted off a little bit, and it's still really outperforming previous years just in terms of volume as we get into October and November. Another thing worth pointing out here is inventory in the Portland area. It's at a low of 1.1 months. That's just some of the lowest inventory in history. And just to get an idea of how inventory is calculated in months, if we took a look at all the listings that were on the market and how many you sell in a given month, we divide that out, and basically we've got the equivalent of 1 month's worth of inventory in the market right now. Let's take a look at Beaverton, which is definitely one of the bigger West Side markets. Beaverton was slowed down a little bit in the summer in terms of pricing, took a dip there, but we've from about June on definitely seeing some strong appreciation in prices in the Beaverton area. The average home price in Beaverton, $451,000. That's up 11% from the $405,000 that it was last October. So definitely seeing some gains here in the Beaverton area. Some solid gains from about the middle of the year on. Looking at volume, and I've talked about this in Beaverton before. Beaverton gets hampered by the lack of inventory, and we see this now. For example, there's 0.6 months worth of inventory in Beaverton, so basically 2 weeks worth of homes to sell. And I would go out on a limb and project that if there were more homes to sell, the actual sales numbers would have been higher. If you look at the red line here, it's pretty flat for the last several months, and I'm pretty sure that was just due to constraints of limited amount of inventory in Beaverton. Lake Oswego is another big West Side market. Let's talk about that. I know when people think West Side, they think Lake Oswego. Lake Oswego prices are considerably higher this year, this October, than they were last year. Looking at the graph there, you can see we typically see a reduction in price as we get into the fall market. Not seeing that this year in Lake Oswego. We're up 20% over where they're at last October. Looking at the volume in Lake Oswego, again, Lake Oswego tends to be very seasonal. You can look at the last 2 years. The market really starts slowing down about August, and it tends to bottom out, October, November, December timeframe there. That whole market is pushed, just like the Portland market has in general, into the fall, and we're actually 72% higher this October in terms of closed sales than we were last year. So that whole buying market has shifted later into the year in Lake Oswego. Let's take a look at TIGARD, another good West Side market as we come down a little bit south of Lake Oswego. TIGARD's price in 2020 has been just consistently higher than the last couple years, and in October we're about 12% above where we were at last October. So some solid appreciation in the TIGARD area. Taking a look at the volume, I'm going to talk about the inventory first, because 0.6 months, so just over 2 weeks of inventory in TIGARD, that is the lowest I've ever seen in TIGARD. When we're looking at October, again, this market has shifted, and we're 34% above where we were at last October. If we're going to cross the Tualatin River here a little bit and just take a look at Tualatin, this is our home market, so I want to throw this out here. We know a lot of people that live in the Tualatin area. It's definitely a smaller market than TIGARD. And I'm showing a little bit different graph here because due to the low volume in Tualatin, any changes in mix in products tends to skew this price, and it gets really noisy looking. So what I'm showing here is a long-term price trend graph for Tualatin as opposed to the stacked year over year. Most of 2019, Tualatin was showing price depreciation. Starting this year, we're showing some appreciation in pricing, but it's been kind of a weak market over the last couple of years. We're up about 3.4% in October, and that's about the same type of gain we have year over year. So it's things are definitely slower in Tualatin, not seeing the appreciation that some other areas are doing. Taking a look across the river and look on the east side, a couple of interesting markets here to take a look at. We're going to look at southeast and northeast. Southeast, if you look at that red line on pricing, I think that's rather remarkable. It has been on this steady increase since about February of 2020. So just this standard increasing in prices over last year. If we're looking at October, for example, we're up about 11.4% over where we're at last year. Looking at volume, it's actually down over where we're at last year, almost 8%. And year to date, we're just about dead even with where we're at last year in Southeast. So prices have been, really strong in Southeast, although the volume just hasn't been there like it has been in some other markets. Taking a look at Northeast, definitely an interesting story here. Prices have continued to be strong in Northeast Portland. We're up about 13%. That's some of the highest appreciation that we've seen in the metro area. So we're 13% over where we were at last October. Volume is up. We're 17% over last October in terms of volume. Again, just not seeing that drop off that we normally see in the fall. I'm going to anticipate that's probably going to start happening here in November and December. So let's take a look at a couple of indicators. Take a look at new listings, and just really what I want to point out here is we're pretty much on par with where we're at last year in terms of new listings, and you can see some definite seasonality starting in August. And as it tails off here as we get into November, just the number of new houses coming on the market drops off. But pending sales has not been seeing that. If you can look, we're well ahead of where we were at last year with pending sales, and just have been since about May. So it's just been a super strong seller's market here, and listings have been tight, and pending sales have been super strong. So some interesting numbers. We're up 21% as of last week compared to last year. Have any questions on your local market? Feel free to reach out, give me a call, shoot me an email. Be happy to put some numbers together for you, talk about what's going on in your specific neighborhood, your specific market. You can shoot me an email at askthegilegroup.com. Like I said, or give us a call. Like us on social media. Go check us out there. We'd love to hear from you.